Pharmacist Ben.
What's up, AJ? How you feeling today?
Good. There's a little lag with your speaking but we will deal with it.
Why would that?
How is
Why would that be? Why would that
I don't
be?
know. I don't know. I don't know.
You
You
know,
got
do
a
you ever
really
hear?
good
Do you ever hear this comedian Mitch Hedberg?
no.
He's a very funny guy. He says, "I think the problem with Bigfoot is he really is blurry." so, so that good. So maybe I really do have a lag. Maybe there's a lag.
Yeah, you're dubbed over. That's right. That's funny. Okay. Well, I was just wondering how the hardest working man in nutrition is doing today.
Oh man, I'm putting out fires all day long.
Oh, you
Holy
really?
cow. But you know what, AJ? Excuse me. You don't get to be a great sea captain by sailing on calm seas.
Okay.
You like
Okay.
that? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
I'm learning to be an admiral.
pre-
I'm learning I'm learning to be an admiral. That's what I'm
pre-
learning. Holy
pressure
cow.
makes
But you know what?
diamonds, though.
Yeah, pressure makes diamonds. That's right. What's the difference between a diamond and coal? Pressure. Yeah, you gotta we have I think tell me if this is right. We had this idea in the back of our minds subconsciously maybe that if I just get rid of this one problem, I'll be good. If I can just solve this one issue, it's all smooth sailing from there. Isn't that kind of how we operate? I just got this one issue. I just got to get rid of it and I'll be good. And then sure enough, another one pops up right after that. And another one. That's the nature of it. Resistance is built into the system. There's always going to be resistance, I think. It's always Winston Churchill. He said history is one damn thing after another.
Mm,
And that's kind of how our lives are, right?
mm.
Isn't that how your life is? Everybody's life is like that.
Yeah, it's
One damn thing after another.
always a challenge
Always
to.
a challenge. Always something to do. If it's not your wealth, it's your health. If it's not your health, it's your family. If it's not your family, it's your dog. If it's not your dog, it's your job. If it's not your job, it's your house. It's just one after another after another. And you just got that's just the nature of it. We don't want to have we don't want to have this point of view or this perspective. Oh, I just got to solve this one problem. I just got to get rid of this one problem. We want us to say, you know, take life one by one, moment by moment. Little one thing at a time, one thing at a time. Remember, I was talking about how you clean the dishes after Thanksgiving. Remember
One
at
dish at a
the
time.
one fork at a time. It may look like there's all of these dishes right in the sink, and you're like, oh my god, one fork at a time. And then pretty soon you just do that one fork, next fork, then the pan, the plate, and next thing you know, dishes are clean. And that's how it's a mental thing. It's a psychological approach.
Yeah, yeah, that is a fact, and life is it makes you stronger. What doesn't kill you, apparently, right?
I
So
told, and chaos gives birth to dancing stars.
look at that, look at that. You gotta love the entropy. So, pharmacist Ben, the title of our show today is Pharmacist Ben, the big fat lie, and the muscle melting drug trap.
Okay, I know the muscle melting drug trap, but what's the big fat lie?
The big fat lie was, and it seems like you weren't able to see my articles that I had when I post an art when
I posted. I gave you that one on Ozempic.
and you also gave me one that talked about the fact that in '77 in the United States and '83
Oh, yeah,
UK.
yeah, yeah. That was a while. I said that a couple weeks ago.
No, you
No,
said
recently it was about
yeah,
the big fat lie about
yeah.
saturated fat. Yeah,
That's
yeah. I thought that was a
saturated.
couple weeks ago. Yeah. So
So,
that the gist. Yeah. Well, did you read the article?
of course.
Tell people the gist of it, and then we'll talk about it.
So the gist of the fat lie one is the fact that um, they really didn't use good science when they put out those recommendations. They
Correct.
kind of they only dealt with men who already had cardiovascular problems, and they didn't use any women, and they didn't use healthy people, and then they didn't and they didn't really share the results properly. The percentages were negligible. There were, in
Yeah.
fact, no shown difference in high fat consumption versus low fat consumption.
But the headlines read, saturated fat causes heart disease. Right? That's what the headlines read. But what you just said is like the backstage. It's like the inner workings. It was what was really happening under the hood, so to speak, the mechanics of the study, which is why I have such a problem with epidemiological studies. Remember we talked about the China study a couple weeks ago?
You
This is
mentioned that.
Yeah, this is the problem with these kinds of studies. They just tell you the end result, the conclusion, and they run with it, and the newspapers run with it, and the internet runs with it, and you just see the headline, right? Back then they didn't have an internet, but the magazines headlines, the newspaper headlines, saturated fat causes heart disease. How do they know? Well, they tested, but they test women. Did they test healthy people? Did they test what kind of fats they ate, et cetera, et cetera? These kinds of conclusions that are drawn from what are called epidemiological studies. Epidemiology is when you get statistics and demographics in order to draw a determination. They're flawed because you can cherry pick the epidemiological criteria, the demographics. And so in this particular case, just one example, they didn't use women. Another example, they used people who are already sick. They draw conclusions, and you're not going to know that until 40 years later, not even 60 years later, 70 years later, 80 years later. And for 80 years, we're operating under this under a science or technology that's based on a conclusion that's drawn from bad science, like you said. And how many people are being told what to do by their doctors based on an epidemiological study that nobody thought to look through? So when you hear these things about niacin causing heart disease, that's a classic case, or saturated fats causing heart disease, or glaucoma, or glucosamine causing glaucoma. You've got to dive deep into see what the data and what the criteria and what the specifications of the study were. Like that T. Colin Campbell guy and the China study, where he just drew conclusions from the China study and he wrote a whole book on it, how you have to eat you have to be a vegetarian, not taking into account the specifics of the study, what towns were studied, what people, what kinds of foods the people were eating, whether they smoked cigarettes, whether they were working all day, whether they're peasants, or whether they're rich. All these kinds of things play into, or determining factors that play into how conclusions are formed. They need to, they should play into account, be taken into account when it comes to how conclusions are formed, but they're not. And then we just go to town with these ideas. And this thing with the saturated fat has been going on for decades. But if you understand biochemistry, you don't have to follow epidemiology. Biochemistry trumps epidemiology all the time. I'm not an epidemiologist. I'm not epidemiology statistics. I'm not a statistician, but I know biochemistry. And I would present that if you know biochemistry and biology, you're going to be a much better healthcare professional, and you're going to draw much cleaner conclusions about the body and health, or the lack thereof, than an epidemiologist or statistician will from those kinds of demographic based studies.
Interestingly,
Studies. They call them studies.
interestingly,
They call them studies, by the way. That's what a study is. A study is epidemiology.
hmm, interesting because based on the study, the government rolled out mandates, and it really took away the use of nutrient dense food, and
Yep.
it
With
was
vitamin A and with vitamin D and vitamin K and essential fats and certain minerals. And even worse, it made people who said, "Hey, the emperor has no clothes here." That's not accurate from a biology standpoint. Oh no, you must be a quack. Oh, you're not following the studies. Look at the studies. Let's follow the studies. And so it makes us like we're wrong. Like because we don't follow the studies. They made fun of Dr. Wallach for years for talking about saturated fat, for talking about minerals, for talking about gluten. If you understand how the body's put together and how the chemistry of the body works, you don't need studies.
interesting, very, very saddening, but not surprising, as Shantae said. Um, Shantae is my fellow Rebound person. And I got a little Rebound in honor of Shantae right here. Look at that. Pharmacist Ben,
Yes, sir.
tell us a little bit about
Say again.
tell us a little bit about this particular weight loss drug, which we don't
Ozempic.
have to name it.
Okay, we won't name it. It rhymes with Prozempic. We're not going to name it though. It rhymes with Gozempic, but we're not going to name it.
You're right.
Okay. Okay.
And it
or
and it
Bagovi, but I'm not going to name that one either.
Wegovy.
Bagovi. Don't mention the name. Rhymes with Bagovi.
Yes, and
no, I was not kidding. These are these GLP-1 receptor agonists, and you'll lose weight with them. The problem is you lose everything with them. You don't just lose body fat; you lose connective tissue and muscle tissue, as this article is talking about. And as anybody who understands biochemistry can tell you, you can't shut down chemistry and be better off for it. You cannot manipulate biochemistry with a pharmaceutical and be better off for it, with the exception of pain pills. And that's, you're not going to be biologically better off, but you'll be, psychologically better off. You'll be in pain. And I'm a big believer in pain pills. Big believer. You wouldn't want to have lived in the 17th century and had surgery where they had a bunch of people holding you down while they cut off your breast or your leg, or that's how they did it. They held you down, or they gave you ether or alcohol or had you bite on a bullet. The Civil War was well known for its amputations because they had, in the American Civil War, was kind of like, I don't know if you follow military history, but the American Civil War was kind of a pinnacle of war because it was where we really understood explosives, but we didn't understand medicine. So maybe World War One, we did understand biology a little bit by World War One, but by the middle of the Civil War, we didn't even know germ theory. But we had explosives and cannonballs and killing devices and tools that were, relatively speaking, for the times, so advanced. I think they even had submarines in the Civil War. I think the submarines was invented in the Civil War. I don't know if you know that. It was very advanced militarily, the middle of the 19th century, but our medical strategies were not that advanced. And so they used to do amputations a lot because people would get infections and they didn't know what gangrene was, what caused gangrene, or what caused bacterial infections. And they would have to hold you down, give you a bullet to bite on, or give you Jack Daniels while they took the bone saw out. I don't know if I ever told you this, but I used to play baseball, and I had a serious leg accident, where I was turning around second base, and my cleat got caught in the bag, in the little hook where the bag was, and I kept going, and my whole leg twisted. My foot was completely torqued. My toes and my heel were in opposite places. It was like this. The whole bottom of my foot was bent, broken, and twisted. And people were like looking over at me and like getting sick, and you can imagine. And it was the pain. I can't even tell you what the pain was like. And then they had to turn it around.
Did they tag you out?
They tagged me out. Yeah, they tagged me out. They did tag me out. I was out. Yeah. So when I got to the hospital, they had to twist my foot back around so it was straight. But before they did it, they gave me morphine. And let me tell you something.
How old were you?
I was 33.
Oh, you were an adult.
Yeah, I was an adult. Yeah, I was an adult. Wow. Oh yeah, I was not supposed to walk right. I was supposed to be crippled. So, but the point is they gave, but I was doing a lot of nutrients. I was kicking butt on the nutrition, and I healed really well. Anyway, when they twisted my leg around, they gave me morphine, and I remember looking at them twist my foot, not my foot, but bottom of my leg, and I didn't feel a thing. They twisted it, and I looked at it, and I watched it, and I couldn't feel a thing. And so let me tell you, pain pills they're miraculous. And antibiotics obviously have saved a lot of lives. But other than that, you can't manipulate biochemistry pharmacologically and be better off for it. There's going to be a price to pay. And, the GLP-1 inhibitors, you'll lose weight with them, but there's going to be other things that happen. And it reminds me the Cat in the Hat comes back.
Oh, part
Do you
two?
remember?
I
You
didn't
remember
read
the?
part two.
Yeah,
No.
there's the Cat in the Hat, and there's the Cat in the Hat comes back.
Okay.
And the Cat in the Hat comes back. This guy, one of the kids, gets red paint on the snow, and they want to get rid of the paint. So the cat has little cat A and little cat B and little cat C, and little cat A gets. And I read it a long time ago. I don't remember the details, but little cat A gets rid of the snow on the red on the snow, but the red ends up in the bathtub. And then little cat B gets rid of the cat in the bathtub, and there's red on the in the closet, and on and on it goes until they have little cat Z, and the whole thing explodes and it's clean again. And I'm definitely paraphrasing it because I haven't read this thing in 60 years, but I remember the point of it was that one thing you take care of one problem, and then another problem pops up. And you take care of that problem, then another problem pops up, and that's how drugs work. You cannot, just rule of thumb, you can't take a drug for one biochemical uh, modification and not have a biochemical change somewhere else. And it's just not possible. And so for these people who are taking Ozempic and the GLP-1 inhibitors, yeah, you're going to lose weight, but you're also going to lose connective tissue and you're going to lose muscle mass. And you may end up with eye problems and you may end up with intestinal problems. And it may appear like you have no problems at all, but you don't know what's percolating underneath that's going to shorten your life. And you're going to end up depleting your body of magnesium and copper and zinc and selenium and vitamin C and vitamin E and other nutrients and coenzyme Q10 and other nutrients that are important for detoxification. So, if you have a lot of weight to lose, I can see when I turn about 60, I'm 66 now. So when I was about 64, I noticed that I was eating exactly the same amount of food and I just couldn't lose the weight. It stayed the same. It kept creeping up and then it finally stabilized, but I don't even eat that much and I can't lose the weight. So, that's what happens when you get older. That's a sign that my metabolism is changing, not for the better. And there's other strategies that I'm going to have to employ, such as moving more, exercising more. We all have to do this. And eating even less than you ate before, even if you don't eat a lot. And that's what's supposed to happen from a healthy, natural perspective or point of view. But we get sold a bill of goods with GLP-1 receptor agonists, GLP-1 RAs, but there's always going to be a price to pay.
Well, interestingly, the article taught me one word that I was not familiar with, incretin.
Ah, you heard of
Incretin
incretin?
or
What's
incretin?
that?
Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
incretin.
okay, and I wasn't familiar with that word, so that was
Well,
interesting.
GLP-1 is an incretin. It's an
Correct.
incretin hormone.
And then also what was interesting, it mentioned the fact that to mitigate this disproportionate muscle loss, that you should weight train and exercise. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, well, wait a minute. If you just weight train and exercise,
You probably
you
lose the
wouldn't need
weight.
the GLP-1. like I was
No,
like,
it's
what?
not that easy. See, the GLP-1s work. You lose 30 pounds in like a month. You're not going to lose 30 pounds in a month by weight training and exercising.
Okay.
GLP-1s work really fast. So for people whose blood sugar is so out of whack, the GLP-1s will cause massive weight loss. And that's another problem. You don't want massive weight loss. You don't want to lose weight that fast. You want to lose weight gradually and slowly. That's the way the body is designed to lose weight. It doesn't like big ups and downs, big spikes. So, that's another issue is the big spikes that changes your biochemistry because your body fat is linked to your biochemistry. And so when
Dr.
you change your body fat dramatically, that's going to change your biochemistry dramatically, and the body doesn't like that. Go ahead.
Dr. Wallach discussed all the time uh, losing a pound a day by using nutrition.
Yeah.
I mean, so a pound a day is
It
the same as
depends on
30 pounds in a month.
No, it depends though. It depends on whether you're AJ or whether you're morbidly obese. If you're morbidly obese, it's easy to lose 30 pounds in a month. You're never going to lose 30 pounds in a month, AJ.
Right.
That's not,
Right.
not going to happen. But so the more weight you need to lose, the faster it comes off.
I saw a guy when we were running, 4, 6, 7 miles a day. I saw a guy lose 250 pounds,
In how long?
6 months.
He must have been 500 pounds.
He was close to 500 pounds.
Yeah. If you're 500 pounds, you can lose 250 pounds. But that last 50 pounds, to go from 250 to 200, that's going to be way harder to lose.
Trust me, he didn't care about the last 50 pounds.
Yeah, I know.
After he lost
I
that,
know. I know. But if he did care,
he walked around like this.
yeah, I bet. I knew a guy, and I still know him, actually, and he wasn't 500 pounds, but he's 400 pounds. And I saw pictures of him, and it was awful. And he's 180 now, and he lost it, and it was amazing. But one of the things that happens when you lose that much weight is you end up with loose connective tissue, because your connective tissue stretches, and then when you lose the weight, the connective tissue doesn't come back; it doesn't spring back. If you're not healthy, and most people are, not healthy enough, and you end up with with saggy skin. And if you're losing that much weight, you end up with a lot of saggy skin.
But
Lots of it.
if you're using minerals and you're
It'll
exercising to lose the weight,
Yeah,
I think it's a little bit better.
It'll help. It'll help depending on how much you lose. Losing 250 pounds, though. Can you imagine how stretched out you have to be 250 pounds overweight? I mean, think of your body. You go probably 180, 190, I'm guessing, right? If you added 200 pounds to that body, can you imagine what happened to your skin in order to get to contain that extra 200 pounds? It would have to get stretched out. And then you lost the 200 pounds. What would happen to all that stretched out skin? It wouldn't come back. It wouldn't bounce back. It's not a spring. It would hang. And that's what happens.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that Ozempic does. That's what they call that Ozempic face or Ozempic butt. And Ozempic can do that. It can cause this sagginess. So really, weight gain is it's a chemistry problem. It's a metabolic problem. Like everything's a metabolic problem. And you can't solve a metabolic problem. There's no pharmacology that can effectively reverse a metabolic problem. They can tweak the symptoms, but they can't reverse the metabolic problem. That's not possible.
So I was watching one of your shows that you did in the past with me earlier today, and I was just like, "Damn, this guy's brilliant." but you were saying, I can't even remember at this very moment, but you were dropping the jewels. And
what was it about? What was I talking about?
I played one about GLP-1s. We did a show about GLP-1s, but you were talking about so many things, and I just was taking notes. So it was just like, damn, how did I miss that? Like,
Okay, I like that. So what? I mean, should we talk about GLP-1s? You want to talk about? I mean, what do you want to talk? Do we have questions, by the way?
I do have some questions. First and foremost, I have a woman who, and we may have touched on it before, but she's got MS. She's got, but what she revealed to me was that she's had prolonged digestive issues.
Oh, really?
Well,
yeah. Shocker.
Yeah,
shocker. She has MS and a digestive problem. I was watching the football thing, the draft. Did you follow any of that? The NFL draft and all that stuff?
A little
bit. They got this one guy. Just a beautiful human being. He's like 22 years old or something like that, 21, 22. Just this beautiful guy. He has this great energy. And they showed him talking about his mom. And he said he does everything for his mom. He loves his mom. And his mom, as it turns out, is in a wheelchair. She has MS. Beautiful lady. Fernando Mendoza, #1 draft pick.
Wow, you remember?
Right? Yeah, his mom has MS. And I'm thinking, she needs to call me. It's a food problem. And he says she's battling MS. You don't need to battle MS. You got to eliminate the source of the problem. There's something really interesting. You ever notice? Do you watch the news at all?
World news more so.
If you watch the news, you gotta be careful. You can watch the news, but you gotta put your psychic hazmat suit on because there's a bunch of hazardous waste that's getting spewed off of the television. television.
Okay, well
Yeah.
we say television.
No, yeah, or television. That's right. That's good too. Right? And that, because you watch a television that programs you. It's a
Oh
pro
man,
yeah, it's a
you're going down
program.
the hole,
Right.
man. Don't go down
Right.
the hole.
Right. So you gotta watch out for that television program, And so you gotta be careful with the television. But the television, if you watch it, especially the news, there's nothing new about it. It's all the same stuff all the time. Right? It's the same old BS. It's the same today as it was when I was a kid. War this and murder that and accident there and economy this. What do they all have in common? They're there to make you scared, to put you in fear. And when you're in fear, everything's about fear. Do you ever see on the news how exciting and happy and great everything is? No, it's all about this war and this strait being closed and this oil thing and this guy being assassinated and Charlie Kirk and all the crazy stuff that's out there. All of it is to put you in this kind of defensive posture. And most of us go through our lives in a defensive posture.
Okay, wait a second. Everybody who's watching this show, close your ears. Pharmacist Ben, are you trying to say that there are beings who are feeding off of our negative energy?
I didn't say that. That was you saying that. I didn't say anything. I didn't
You're
say
just
that.
going
Don't be
down
putting
the
that.
rabbit hole.
Don't be putting that on me. This is the point. Don't be putting that on me. That's your weird. That's your weird ideas. I know where you're working. I see you working on there. No, I didn't say anything about that. We putting that on me. But here's the point. It happens in the body too. The body is in a defensive posture. Inside, we're psychically in a defensive posture, psychologically in a defensive posture. We go through our lives in a defensive posture. We talked about how that activates the emergency nervous system, and all disease is controlled at the sympathetic nervous system level, and healing is at the relaxation level. That's why praising God and being spiritual and being mentally correct and emotionally correct is so important, neurologically and physiologically. But internally, our metabolism is also in a defensive posture. What is the manifestation biochemically and biologically? What is the manifestation of a defensive posture? The manifestation of this defensive posture is inflammation.
Oh, understood.
Inflammation is a protective response. It's a defensive response. So if all disease is inflammatory, and it is all inflammatory, when I say dirty blood, you know how I always say dirty blood, right? It's really inflamed blood. It's not the dirty blood, it's that the blood's inflamed. Do you know the blood can get inflamed?
I know now.
Now you know. So it's inflamed blood. And so inflammation is the calling card of the immune system, which is the defense system. So not only are we psychologically in a defensive posture, but we're metabolically in a defensive posture. And there's a clue there. Because if you want to end a defensive posture, what do you have to find out? What's the opposite of defense? If you're playing basketball, you have defense
and the offending agent.
Right? It's that simple. It's that simple. It's a little twist, there's a little twist there, because sometimes the offending agent can be a negative offending agent in the sense that it's something missing. Something missing it's not really an offending agent, but it can trigger a defensive response, a protective response, because you can be protected from deficiencies and you can be protected from positive things coming in, not positive like good, but positive like things coming in. Yes, you were going to ask something.
Give me an example of a deficiency that might cause inflammation.
Vitamin C, classic deficiency.
I knew that was coming.
Classic.
Okay.
Vitamin C is a major anti-inflammatory. Omega fatty acids. Omega fatty acids are classic anti-inflammatories. Omega 3s are classic anti-inflammatories. You know, aspirin works with the essential fatty acid system, with the fats in the body. That's how aspirin and Motrin and these called non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, they work at the level of the fats. That's why they give you baby aspirin, by the way, or they tell you to take a baby aspirin after you have a heart attack. A baby aspirin is an anti-inflammatory for the blood. Did I answer your question?
Continue. No, please continue.
Okay, continue. So we want to look at the whole disease process as being the manifestation of attack. And there's nothing, you can't take a drug to reduce the effects of an attack. You have to look at what the source of the attack is. And because the body is a closed system and there's only a few portals into the blood, obviously it's going to be either food or injecting through the skin. and to a certain extent inhaling, but you have a lot of protection in the breathing process. So it's not that's not as important as the digestive, as the entrance of toxicity or attack agents, offending agents through the digestive tract. And the skin is usually not a problem unless you're injecting, but a lot of people are injecting. And by the way, do you know like hundreds of my YouTube videos were removed?
When?
Somebody just texted me last week. AI is going around scrubbing videos.
No way.
Yeah, way. I bet you some of ours were removed.
I didn't get any notification. From
Yeah.
Critical Health News?
No, I had a bunch of videos from everywhere. Some of them might have been, I guess. I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna have to take a look.
Yeah,
at
look
that.
into that. Look into that.
But Pharmacist Ben,
Yes.
You famously have said that all of the blood and the connective tissue and our bones, all is the same material. So if there could be
it's all connective tissue. Is all connective tissue.
tissue.
Yeah, connective tissue is all the same material. That's true.
And so if there can be inflammation in the gut, there can be inflammation in the blood, right? Because it's the same type of material. So hence the same type of response can occur.
100%. You know, it is that's what leaky gut is, and that's really everything. So that connective tissue deterioration is part and parcel of the whole process of leaky gut, and we really want to understand that building the connective tissue is not only going to help hold everything in place, it will also strengthen the barrier. The digestive barrier. That's why collagen peptides, fucoidin, high hyaluronic acid, they actually play double duty because they'll help the mucosa also. But anything you do to build connective tissue is going to improve leaky gut. And you'll improve your blood vasculature and bones and wrinkles and joints and other places, and gums, other places where there's connective tissue.
So if some deterioration of connective tissue is a subclinical scurvy, how come you can't just take vitamin C to repair your gut?
You can. That's a great supplement. You can't just take vitamin C. Yes. No, you can't just take vitamin C because vitamin C
is vitamin C, right?
No, the cure for vitamin C deficiency disease is vitamin C.
Okay, but it's ascorbic acid.
Yes, but listen to what I'm saying. That's nomenclature. But literally, those are just words. But literally, the cure for vitamin C deficiency, which semantically is scurvy, but the cure for vitamin C deficiency is vitamin C. I mean, obviously, right?
Okay.
But there's other things too. That's the cure. The reason I bring that up, I mention it that way, is because vitamin C does not cure or reverse all connective tissue deterioration. It's just that vitamin C deficiency will cause connective tissue deterioration. But too much sugar will cause connective tissue deterioration. Not enough copper will cause connective tissue deterioration. Infection can cause connective tissue deterioration. Toxicity can cause connective tissue deterioration. Lack of oxygen can cause connective tissue deterioration. Inflammation can cause connective tissue deterioration. And vitamin C can cause connective tissue deterioration. There's lots of things. Yes.
So this woman I was talking to who said that she had digestive issues from very young mentioned to me that she was not breastfed and was using formula, and mentioned that she has had allergies, and she said the first memory she has is being about 5 years old, and they gave her an allergy shot in both butt cheeks, and she couldn't sit down because she couldn't figure out, like, get comfortable. 5-year-old trying to figure out.
How old is she now? How old is this lady now?
60s.
So this was 50 years ago, 55 years ago.
Yeah, let's say that.
That's about right. So it's about the 1970s. Yeah, she's probably, if she's 60 now, she's probably 5 in like the late 60s, early 70s kind of thing. Yeah, it was very primitive back then. It still is. Listen to the whole syndrome. You know what a syndrome is, right?
Yeah.
A bunch of things happening from one cause, right? They call it syndrome. So let's work backwards in the syndrome. What does she have? She has MS. She has allergies. What were a couple other things you said that she had?
Uh,
Digestive issues,
digestive.
bloating. What else? She must have other stuff too. She only
Well,
told you just those three things. Say, let's leave it at those. There's probably other things, but let's leave it at those three things. What do they all have in common? Think about it. Digestion.
well, I was going to say the root to me is the digestive issues.
Not
The
just
blood.
yes, that entrance into the blood,
Okay.
leaky gut. So what does
Yes.
that mean? That means she can be reverse it. Like when I saw that guy talking about his mom, I want to yell into the TV. I can help you, not because I'm a genius, but I can. This is logical. Michael J. Fox has Parkinson's disease. Muhammad Ali had Parkinson's disease. There are people, great people, football players who have these kinds of diseases and celebrities who have these kinds of diseases. And where do they go? They go to the medical model and they get worse and they get worse and they get worse. I can help you, Michael J. Fox. I could have helped Muhammad Ali, not because I'm so great or so smart, but because this is the mechanism. And I wouldn't even help you. I'd tell you how you can help yourself. I say that better.
Yeah.
But look, this is the world we live in. And that's why the 22 people on the call here, 24 people on the call are at the head of the curve. It's like humanity lives in a bell curve, right? You know what a bell curve is, right? Bell, and the bell is the middle part, but there are two edges to the bell. There's this edge, the people behind the bell curve, and this is the people in the front of the bell curve. People listening to this program are in front of the bell curve. And what we're talking about here, what we've been talking about the last 20 years, is going to be accepted wisdom by the medical model in 40 years, 30 years, 40 years. It's already starting. It's already starting. When I started my journey as a healthcare professional and talking to people about their health, there were no health food stores on every block. There was no internet and Amazon.com, and people didn't really know about nutrition unless they were athletes or bodybuilders or weightlifters. The average person knew nothing about it. But look how it's changed. Just in the last 5 years since COVID, look how it's changed. Can you imagine what's going to happen in 30, 40, 50 years? So people listening to this program, what you love, if I may be so bold as to be presumptuous, what you guys love is what's going to be common knowledge in 40 or 50 years, and you're all ahead of the curve. And you're all we call them early adopters. They're all the early adopters, the people who are leading the way. And that's who we're talking to. They're people who are leading the way. People like Dr. Wallach, those are people who are leading the way.
Pharmacist Ben. So
yes.
This woman, I think that I'm helping her properly. What would you suggest that she do?
First of all, I do a
And
food
she's
diary.
keeping a food diary.
Okay, so notice
Number
things.
one.
Have her notice things. Go to Critical Health. Have her notice things. Oh my God! Every time I have beans, my MS gets worse.
You know what she noticed? You know what she noticed?
What?
She noticed that she was eating nuts, and the nuts gave her inflammation.
Right.
And then
Now,
she said,
how many people are eating nuts out there? I mean, how many people are eating nuts and don't know that? Right? And she wouldn't know that. If she didn't call you and had her do food diary, she'd be eating nuts her whole life, wondering why she's breaking out. Her doctor will go, I don't know. There's no reason for it. Your mother must have had hives, Your father must have had whatever nonsense they tell you, right? But now she does a food diary and she starts to see things.
Yeah.
That's why I always say, do a food diary. It reconnects you with your body. We are disassociated from our bodies. Human beings live in their heads, not in their bodies. You do not want to spend most of your time here. This will drive you crazy if you're here. Not only that, it will activate the stress nervous system because the brain or the mind, however you want to call it, is always in the past and in the future. It's never in the present. It's always predicting, or it's anticipating, or it is worried, or it has regrets, and it has guilt, and it has shame. That's what the mind does. It's always in the past and the future. Where can you come back to the present? In the body. The body lives in the present. The mind lives in the past or future. The present, the body and the present are where you stand down. And just by focusing on a part of your body, your breath, meditation experts and meditators always focus on the breath. You can focus on your heartbeat. You can focus on an organ. or fit your fingers or your toes or your feet. You can focus on parts of your body and you will activate the calming parasympathetic nervous system. Great strategy to fall asleep, by the way. If you can't sleep at night, focus on your body. Notice that when you can't fall asleep at night, you're in your head, right? You're never in your body when you can't fall asleep. If you're in your body, you're asleep. When you're up at night, you're like, oh, this happened, that happened, this is going to happen tomorrow, and this person said this, etc. I do it. And when I find myself doing it, you better believe I go right back to my breath. Do it right now. Try it right now. Notice how you relax when you go to your breath. Pay attention. Don't breathe. You're always breathing. So don't do anything different to your breath. Don't change your breath. Just watch it. Don't change your breath. That's not the point here. Watch it. Are you watching it?
Yes.
Paying attention to it. Do you notice how you calm down when you pay attention to it?
I did calm down.
Imagine if you did it for 5 minutes. You only did it for 1 second, 2 seconds. Imagine if you do it for 5 minutes. Just paying attention to the breath. Paying attention to the body puts you back in the present. When you're in the present, you're safe. Think about it. What's wrong in the present? The very, very moment, this moment, the nano moment, if you can break it down, which is, of course, you can't do really because it's constantly moving. But if you could break it down, you have enough air, you got enough biochemistry, your heart's beating, all your senses and cells are doing what they're supposed to do. Everything's perfect right now. It's only when you predict that you got a problem. It's only when you put yourself in the future. In the present, there's no problems. And returning the body takes you to the present. Returning the body takes you to a place where there's no problem. Even pain. The next time you have pain, notice that the pain itself is not the problem. It's what is associated with the pain. Oh no, I'm in pain. Oh no, what does this mean? Oh no, this really hurts. The pain itself, if you focused in on it, would be just a neural sensation. The pain itself. And there are people who actually endure pain that way. And that's how, in a way, that if you put yourself deeply and become one with your body, you can survive a lot. Unfortunately, we do have nerves, we do have neurology, and pain, while we hate it, is very important for the body. So it's hard you're not going to get rid of the pain, but you can deal with it much more effectively if you zoom in on it and really digest it and feel it. And just break it down into its building block components as best as you can. You're not going to get rid of it, though. The pain is there to tell you that you're doing something wrong or that there's something wrong. So you're not going to get rid of it, but you can deal with it more effectively.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know that we
got questions.
The time has flown by so fast. I didn't know that I was here talking to philosopher Ben. I thought I was talking to pharmacist Ben.
No.
So let's see. I had a question from Rumble. We're gonna take Bruce. I probably will get your question later. Baclofen was suggested for calf and foot cramps from statins. I was on a little leery of it. Okay, so yeah, this person was suggested, and I guess he's more concerned about this baclofen. I'm concerned about the statins. But
listen, they're giving him baclofen because he got like little cat A and little cat B.
Right.
It's the same thing. Instead of treating the dyslipidemia, it's not cholesterol. Elevated cholesterol is dyslipidemia, and cholesterol plaques are the end result of vascular issues. I think we've talked about this. Why do you only have cholesterol plaques in the arteries? You never hear about venous plaques. It's always in the arteries, and it's always in the arteries at the top or near the heart.
There's more force coming out.
More pressure.
More pressure.
Yes, more force. What does force mean? What does force do? It damages the vessels when the vessels are weak. Vessels are strong, it's not a problem. When the vessels are weak, the force damages the vessels. Cholesterol is a Band-Aid. So the logic of lowering cholesterol for heart disease, it just doesn't make sense. I will say that cholesterol is part of the inflammatory response. It's a defensive, it's a coping molecule. It's a life molecule. It helps us deal with life, cholesterol. It's a precursor to all your steroid hormones. It's a precursor to your bile. It's a precursor to vitamin D. And when I say precursor, it's actually a type of vitamin D. It's a type of bile. It's a type of estrogen and testosterone. So cholesterol is the difference between a plant and a person. A plant doesn't think, a plant doesn't move, although now we're finding out differently, by the way. Plants, it turns out, do have an ability to think, but not like we do. They don't have a brain, they don't have a nervous system, they don't ambulate, they don't move, they don't have the same kind of immune system, they have different hormones, etc. They have hormones, by the way, but they have different hormones. They got plant hormones. All of this is the distinction, points to cholesterol as the primary distinction between a plant and a person. Cholesterol is a person molecule or an animal molecule. It helps animals survive. And one of the things it does is it acts as a Band-Aid for the vessels. So for statin drugs, you'd be better off making supporting the vasculature. But it turns out cholesterol plays a role in defense and immunity and inflammation. And so they find that the statin drugs can have anti-inflammatory properties. That's why they really like them. And that's why they're relatively non-toxic, the statin drugs. But the point is you don't want to medicate. You can't be better off by medicating yourself. Remember deductive reasoning. Do we talk about deductive reasoning versus inductive reasoning? Deductive reasoning is when you start off with an idea, a premise, and then you work downward. Our idea and premise is you're not going to be better off by taking drugs. And now you can work downwards. Statin drugs have toxicity that you got to take another drug for. Antihypertensives defeat the body, what the body's trying to do. Anti-inflammatories shut down the immune system. So the premise is, the top, you can't be better off with a drug. And all of the proof of that is all the things I just said. Inductive reasoning is when you take a bunch of loose facts and you create a theory from them. We want to be, remember Sherlock Holmes? Deductive reasoning, my dear Watson. Deductive reasoning allows you to go from the crime to the perpetrator. That's how you get deductive reasoning. That's how you solve the crime. Biological pathologies are like a crime. I call forensics. If you want to solve a crime, you got to know forensics, biological forensics. You look at that. That's why I always say you have 3 points. You got to have 3 points. You get those 3 points, like Bob Ross. I know I said it before, but it bears repeating. It's you have a painting, a white canvas. You put 1 dot in the middle. Bob Ross would put a splash of paint. I don't know what that is. A splash of paint. Puts another, 2 splashes of paint. Puts a third, boom, a river. Puts another one, boom, a tree. Another one, boom, a landscape. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
He would just do these little splashes, and holy cow, how did he do that? Right? When I was a kid, I was amazed. What? Yeah, there's just like boom, 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 and all of a sudden you have this beautiful landscape. That's how you have to do forensics, biological forensics. You look for clues, 3 clues at least, but the more clues you have, the better. So for that lady with MS, I would say, how's your digestion? Oh, I bloat. How is your respiration? Oh, I get mucus all the time. I'm always mucusy. How's your energy level? I feel tired. Boom, toxicity in the blood. Now, I've been doing this long enough, I can pretty much say everything's toxicity in the blood. But by triangulating, you can put a picture together of what's happening inside the body. That's forensics. That's deductive reasoning. You start off with dirty blood, and you put the point, and you look for all the points.
Okay, but what about this guy with the muscle spasms that he thinks is caused by the statin?
It could be. The most important toxicity or side effect, adverse reaction of statin drugs is rhabdomyolysis, I think they call it, which is muscle disease. So yeah, it could definitely be that.
Hophead said he stopped doing statins 2 years ago, still gets cramps 3 times a week at night. Is he using magnesium? Is he using calcium?
CoQ10. One of the things statin drugs do is they deplete the body of CoQ10.
Mm-hmm.
Depleting the body of CoQ10 is one of the major causes for muscle disease, and also heart disease, which is ironic because you take statin drugs for heart disease. So if you're on a statin drug, you want to take CoQ10 with it. Most doctors know enough to tell you that.
Okay, so
magnesium can help for sure.
He needs the 90. He needs
EFAs,
the 90.
I would say the 90, absolutely.
He needs a 90. Hophead, answer this question. And by the way, Ben, we've got about 70 people watching. Hophead, please give us a phone call or send us an email. The information I'm going to put on the screen right now. You do not have to do this by yourself. So reach out to us so that we can assist you, please. As Keeley says, deductive proves it, inductive suggests it. Let's see here. Keeley, you and your questions. Okay. YouTube, is IV vitamin C good for Parkinson's disease or Alzheimer's and your memory?
I don't want to say it's specific for that. It's good for everything. IV vitamin C is good for everything. But I'm not going to tell you it's specific. It depends on what's causing the problems. It's not always vitamin C deficiency, but vitamin C can help with everything. It's very, very, very important anti-inflammatory and antioxidant. But I'm not going to tell you, if, for example, she has some kind of did you say memory? What did you say? What were the three things you said?
Is it good for Alzheimer's, overall memory?
Yeah,
and
Parkinson's? It's all that, because it's an anti-inflammatory. But if you're eating a lot of sugar, you're not going to get the benefit of the vitamin C. Did we ever talk about that? How sugar will compete with vitamin C? Cells can, if you're eating a lot of sugar, it's going to be harder for cells to process vitamin C. So if you're eating sugar, that's going to be a problem. If you have bowel problems and toxicity is building up in the intestine, you're not going to. The vitamin C may help, but you still have other issues, other things that you got to address. Vitamin C will help for sure. Vitamin C is good for everything, but it's not going to reverse your Parkinson's disease. Probably, maybe it will. I don't know, but that's not really. Parkinson's is not a vitamin C deficiency issue.
Understood.
You know what the current alternative treatment important. I don't know if it's of choice, but one of the most important alternative treatments for Parkinson's is today.
Don't say it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't say it. Okay.
What is it? You tell me.
It's the it's transplanting something that comes out of one person into and putting it into another person.
Yeah. What is it?
Fecal matter
transplant. That's what they give you now, or alternative. Not doctors don't do it. And there's actually capsules that you can actually eat. You know what I'm talking about? Literally. But they're sterilized and all that. But
what good is if it's sterilized already?
Because dead bacteria actually have things that are beneficial. Dead bacteria actually can promote the growth of certain bacteria. So they don't have to be live.
So just back to the breastfeeding. If someone was not breastfed, can they just take? I mean, what kind of spectrum of probiotics would they need to really have a good gut flora?
If somebody is breastfed, if somebody's formula fed.
Yeah, someone was formula fed.
There's no way. You can't do it. Formula, I know if you can't make milk, obviously you got a problem, but there's La Leche League, there's places we can get breast milk. There's no way to duplicate it. Those things they give you in the store, the formulas, not only don't they duplicate it, but they may be among the most chemically damaging or chemically dangerous substances you could ever ingest. Not only are they a source of rancid fats, a major source of rancid fats. That's how they get it creamy. That's how they get it milk-like, is the rancid fat, is the fats, the oils, but they're rancid. They're sunflower oil for the most part, corn oil, that kind of thing. Terrible. GMO on top of that. But there's no way to duplicate what's in breast milk. There's so many things in breast milk, and there's probably things that we don't even know are in breast milk. They're in trace amounts and microscopic amounts. It's not possible. So if you can't breastfeed, it's tough. It really is tough. There is La Leche League where you can get breast milk, and I don't know a lot about it. Yeah.
but as an adult, what would I mean, is there a broad enough spectrum of probiotics? I mean, obviously,
No way to know. There's so many different probiotics in the digestive tract, and they're all in proportion. And the proportions change with certain foods, with certain lifestyle issues, with certain mental states. Probably, I don't know that for a fact, but it makes sense. With biochemical changes in the body, there's no way you can
we need hope.
approximate it.
So how about some suggestions?
Get a broad spectrum and eat fermented foods. Get as broad spectrum as you can, and go by your symptoms. And use and experiment with probiotics, experiment with doses, experiment with when you take them. Just experiment. Probiotics are very unique in the pantheon of nutritional supplements because most nutritional supplements are molecules. Sometimes you get macromolecules or complexes of molecules, but they're molecular. Probiotics are living or formerly living. They're creatures. They're entities. They're living or formerly living substances. So in a way, they're more like food, and there's some. I heard of this one carnivore saying, talking about vegetarians saying, "How come you eat algae? How come you eat fermented foods, fermented veggies? That's bacteria, and you're eating them. They're alive or formerly alive." So it's really hard. They're unique in the pantheon of nutritional supplements, and there's no real regulatory bodies for probiotics. There's regulatory bodies for nutrition, but there's regulatory bodies for supplements, but there's no regulatory bodies for probiotics, although they're working on that. I'm looking here. Somebody says, Keely talks about goat's milk, and Doc, 100%. Goat's milk is the closest that you can get. It's still not human milk, but it is the next best choice. That's absolutely true. Goats are like roughly the same
weight as us.
Yeah, it's still not like human milk, but Doc is right.
Okay. Mark, our funny guy, Mark, does Ben have any thoughts on camel milk?
Yeah. What about, camel milk is the thing. It's not funny, but giraffe milk. But you think about a milk, cows make milk and they're easy and cows are beautiful animals. I love cows. Absolutely love cows. You should go on YouTube if you haven't yet and look up friendly cows. Cows are just the most sweetest animals. There's ornery cows for sure, but they can be very, very loving and very sweet cows. So I like cows. But why are cows some kind of special milk? What is special about cow's milk? Why don't we drink squirrel milk?
It's abundant.
It's abundant, right? But the milk itself, I mean, camel's milk, goat's milk. There's no real reason the cow's milk is this holy grail of milk. You could have, we could eat dog milk. We could drink dog milk or squirrel milk. It's the same stuff. There's no real reason not to.
Squirrels make milk?
Yeah, all mammals make milk.
I didn't know squirrel was a mammal. I thought it was a rodent.
A rodent's a mammal.
I knew that. Testing you. Okay. So yeah, I don't want to try squirrel milk. Keely, have you heard the following for vertigo? The upside down chair therapy,
No,
a TBR chair, rotational, for symptoms like benign paroxysmal positional vertigo. I had a client.
Wait, hang on. Benign, paroxysmal, positional vertigo. What the heck does that mean? What's benign, paroxysmal, positional mean? We know what vertigo is.
Okay, so benign. I'm guessing it's not going to spread.
Non-cancerous, okay. What's a paroxysm?
I see paradox in there somewhere.
Not quite. It's a paroxysmal is sudden. Or episodic. It shows that something's intermittent and spasmodic rather than straight line. Make sense? Okay. It's not like you chronically have vertigo, but you have it in episodes, right? So benign paroxysmal happens once in a while. Positional means it happens when you move. You change position, right?
Yep.
So we got three things there. Benign, okay, we don't need to know that. But paroxysmal and positional tell you that once in a while you change position, you get vertigo, right? So what would cause that? Well, it's very interesting because when we change position, we don't realize what's happening inside the body. Do you realize just by lifting your hand, let alone turning your head or standing straight or standing out of seat position or getting out of bed, there is a zillion different microscopic, nanoscopic chemical reactions that are occurring in the body. Blood vessels, tiny, tiny blood vessels, capillaries. You have 50,000 miles. 50,000 miles of blood vessels in the body. 50,000. Obviously, you're only 6 foot or so, right? So in that 6 feet, how can you have 50,000 miles? They have to be microscopic. They got to be tiny, 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 tiny. And these tiny, 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 tiny vessels have to open and close. Because when you change position, your blood pressure, the flow of blood changes. So all of that has to be adjusted for. And all of this is controlled by electrolytes, the B vitamins, the kidneys, and especially the adrenal glands. The kidneys are your renals. Your adrenals sit on top of the kidneys. And so the kidneys and the adrenals, particularly the adrenals, control the opening and closing of blood vessels. And when you move, your adrenals and your kidneys have to kick in to control things. Because so many of us are suffering from adrenal issues and kidney issues, we don't compensate correctly. So when we move, all these zillions and zillions of chemical reactions happen so naturally, normally, when most of our lives and we're healthy, they don't happen correctly. When the blood vessels don't open and close correctly, you get dizzy or you get woozy. It changes blood flow to the brain and you get dizzy. It can also cause problems in the inner ear because fluid balance is also involved, like on a level. You know, when you're doing construction or you're building a wall, you have a level, and you want that water bubble to stay right at center, and the fluid in that little center is associated with the device. You know, the angle on the device they call a level. Same thing in the inner ear. When you move, fluid changes in the inner ear keep you moving straight, but if the fluids aren't moving correctly, and the blood system and the fluid system are connected, they're all related, you're not going to adjust correctly and you're going to get dizzy and you're going to get woozy. And the room's going to spin. All of this has to do with blood circulation. All of it is blood circulation. Where have you heard this before? This is all about dirty blood. This is all about poorly oxygenated blood. And ultimately, it's also about adrenal stress, adrenal duress. The adrenal glands are your stress glands. Is it a surprise to anybody that we have burnt out adrenal glands? You know, one of the best things you could do for your adrenal glands is plant-derived minerals first thing in the morning. And a little bit of salt, Celtic sea salt, in water. Celtic sea salt's amazing stuff, by the way.
Better than Himalayan.
Yes, and by the way, somebody's saying it's due to crystals. Yes, crystals in the inner ear. That's exactly right. Crystals in the inner ear can break down when the fluid is off. There's calcium crystals in the inner ear. That's exactly right.
So the doctor is telling her to get this machine that puts her upside down.
Ah, I see. And what we'll do, put the crystals will go back in place? I don't think so. I don't know how that would work.
Sure. I'm not just sure that the crystals will go back in place as a result.
So what does the chair do? Well, how does that work?
The chair takes you upside. Keely, answer the question.
I don't understand how that works.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This was basically recommended, by her doctor, whatever you want to call it. And she says, because she's been on a protocol for a long time, she was an international flight attendant, so she was radiated for 36 years of the plane. She's come through that for the last 18 years. And we have been working on the tinnitus or whatever. So she's been on the Good Herbs products, that actually start to break down, part of the connective tissue or whatever. Is it possible?
No, listen. What is
Hang on 1 second though, because she hasn't had this for a couple years, and she has had 4 instances in the last 10 days, just all of a sudden.
Yeah, listen, I was going to tell you, don't overthink this. How does the metabolism become imbalanced? How's metabolism thrown off? Deductive reasoning, dirty blood.
Hormones.
How does this all happen? It's digestive. She's probably doing something, or something's happening, changing in her digestive health. This is what I would do. And I don't want you to take my word for it, or her to take my word for it. Fast.
Okay.
See what happens when you fast. If you still have the condition when you fast, that still doesn't mean it's not dirty blood. You really have to give it some time. But for most people, one day she should notice a difference. That's how you test these, by the way, everything we're talking about. So, yes, they call those little stones, those crystals, they call them otoconia. That they're definitely associated, but it's the dislodging of the otoconia, and the dislodging of the otoconia is associated with inflammation, and the inflammation has to do with fluid balance.
Keely, you got that?
It's fluid.
Yeah, I got that.
It's fluid dynamics. The fluid dynamics is disturbed by the otoconia, and the otoconia are probably disturbed by the fluid dynamics. So what happens? You understand fluid dynamics? What I mean when I say that? The movement of fluid. Dynamics means movement.
I understand.
Right. So the movement of fluid is disrupted by these crystals, and the crystals in turn are dislodged from inflammation. You follow me?
I'm following you.
So it's inflammatory, it's digestive, it has to do with fluid balance. There's a bunch of stuff that's happening. So otoconia are definitely, or ear crystals, whatever you want to call it. Those are associated absolutely with this BPPV. But it's we don't overthink. Don't overthink. I'm giving you the mechanism here because it's interesting, but don't overthink. Work on your digestive health. Work on your blood sugar health. Get on the Mighty 90 essential nutrients. Fast. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't want to get people. We don't want to overthink this.
She's done the diet. Her diet is almost like perfect.
No.
I'm telling you.
Wait a minute. Zero. Let's rewind that. Let's rewind that one, Keely.
Okay, rewind. Here's the deal. She had lupus, couldn't get out of bed for 7 years. She is able to have a full life now. And,
oh my God. She must have a perfect diet then. Oh my God. Right.
So,
hang on, Keely. Hang on. Her lupus went away, so her diet's perfect. And I'm not picking on you here. I just want to show you, this is how we think. I hear people all the time tell me that I have a perfect diet, but I have diabetes. I'm Keely, stop. I'm not picking on you. I'm just trying to show you this is how we think. It's not like we're dumb. I'm not saying people are dumb. It's just our thought process. I have a perfect diet.
Took a look at her diet and what she's been putting in her mouth. I've looked at it for the last 3-4 weeks. Okay, because she keeps it for me.
Just tell me the point.
Retentive.
She's what? She's what? I didn't hear what you said.
Anal retentive.
Keely.
No, hang on, AJ. Hang on. I want to get to a point. Hang on a second, AJ. Hang on. Yeah.
The question came, or whatever, that she has been on she's got a huge protocol.
Keely, why does she have a perfect diet? Don't go there. Why does she have a perfect diet? Tell me. Or how you know?
She aligns herself to the 12 bad foods. Basically, she makes sure that she does not consume them. They don't do that at all in their house.
So she has a perfect diet because she doesn't eat the 12 bad foods. I'm only highlighting this because I want everybody listening to hear this is how we think. Oh, I have otoconia. I have ear BPPV. I have whatever rashes. I have headaches, but I eat perfectly. No, you don't. Not only because you're symptomatic. That's one way. But it's impossible to eat perfectly. That's not humanly possible in our culture because human beings evolved over the course of 2 million years and cellularly billions of years. And over the last 150 years, Keely, and tell your friend this, we've completely changed the food supply. So if 2 million years is a clock, at 1 second to midnight, half a second to midnight, we completely changed the food supply. But I eat perfectly. I have a perfect diet. How is that possible?
It's not possible, and I'll take the word back perfectly. Okay.
Okay. So
All right,
she's
make you feel better.
well. Okay, fair enough. I understand what you're saying, but I wasn't picking on you. I just want to show this is how, and it's not even you. It's people who are sick. I hear it all the time. But I'm off of gluten. I have the worst arthritis, but I'm gluten free. Well, okay, great, you're gluten free, but there's hundreds of different compounds you could be reacting to. You could have mast cell instability in the intestine following the eating of sauerkraut or avocados. We had a lady on. Remember those two beautiful black gals that were on the other day, right? And she can't. Oh my God! But I am a vegetarian. But I had the worst endometriosis. But I'm a vegetarian. I only eat organic. I said, do a food diary, see what happens. What did she say, AJ? Oh my God! Every time I have avocados, I'm in agony. Avocados, Keely. Avocados can cause problems.
This woman today we're talking about has a problem with nuts.
Yeah, the lady with the nuts. You don't know. You don't know.
Keep the food diary, Keely.
Yeah, and even more than that, Keely, and even more than that, and this is where it becomes important because you don't want to make people wrong, and I'm not making you wrong, Keely, and you don't want to make your people wrong. But here's what's really interesting: you want to find places, you want to search for places. You don't want to know what you're doing right. You want to do what you're doing wrong. Know what you're doing wrong. It's in your interest to find things. If you say I'm perfect, I eat perfectly, but I still have fibromyalgia. What are you gonna do? This is your main PowerPoint, and now you're saying, "Well, I don't want to address that main PowerPoint." There's no other PowerPoints, so you want to find the things.
As we've been trending her food log, there are no reactions that she is having that she noticed other than
that she noticed.
And this was the
Keely, hang on. You said two things there. You said there's no relaxes, right? There's no relaxes having that she's noticing. That's the key.
That she had noticed. I mean,
that's the key.
On a daily basis to do that assessment, and she's like,
deductive reasoning. Do you believe that and I don't know her, so I'm going to ask you, but I'm not really asking you. I'm asking her, and you can ask her this. Do you believe that inflammation and toxicity is behind all your health challenges? Do you believe that? And if it's no, then you say, okay, fine. Then there's nothing I can do for you. But if you say yes, and then which is the most logical answer, by the way. But if she says no, there's nothing you do. Nothing you do. Fine. Go and sin no more. Jesus loves you. You're good. I can't help you. Seriously. I'm not even interested in helping you. You're on your own. But if you believe it, then we can help you. Then you're going to dive in. Then you're going to find. If you say, no, it's not inflammation. No, it's not toxic. Because I checked. I ate and I saw. Okay, good. Then it was a little elf that shot an arrow at you. I don't know what it is. It's a weight. It's a miasma. It's your genetics. It's your mother. I can't help you then. I want to help you. And the only way I can help you is if you accept as a premise and then work downwards. Accept as a premise that all disease is inflammatory and all inflammation comes from a defensive response. And all defensive responses imply something attacking or entering into the sacred space, which is the blood. And now we can work. You follow me? If you have that deductive reason, then you'll dive in. Then you won't say, oh, but I eat perfectly. Oh, but I don't have any symptoms. You'll say, where am I finding these? And as it turns out, logically, we don't really know if our bowel movements are complete. We don't even know if we're having good bowel movements because we don't know. We don't ask people. Do you have a book of turds and the different shapes? There are books like that, by the way, but nobody pays attention to that. You know what I'm saying? It's like we don't really know. People don't even know they have heartburn sometimes. And you have to kind of dive in. Some people don't even know what a digestive symptom is. So you have to dive in. But all of this presupposes that you accept as a premise the top. You follow me, Keely? If you accept that is the premise, that all disease is inflammatory, and all inflammation is defensive, and all defense means offense, and all offense means something's got into the blood, and the only way things get into the blood are injection and digestion, then you have to work there. Now, not everybody believes this, by the way. I don't see how you can't, but some people say, no, it's your genetics. There's lots of people that say, no, it's hereditary. Your mother had it, so you're going to have, mother had heart disease, you're going to have heart disease. There's a lot of people say that. But you know what, Keely? That takes our power away from us. Some people would say you're blaming the victim. I say you're giving the victim his power back. The medical model says, oh, it's not you. It's your mother. It's in your genes. You have it. You're stuck. Don't worry about it. You can eat whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. Live your life wherever you want. It's your mother's fault. It's your genetics fault. Or it's a virus. It had nothing to do with the Coke that you're drinking or the French fries or any of that. It's the virus. And guess what? You can eat whatever you want, but we can kill the virus. Or we could give you something that will take care of the virus. It takes our power away. It disempowers us. We have a world in general and a medical model in specific that is almost intentionally constructed to disempower us. And that's why we go through our lives disempowered and miserable. And we suffer from something called learned helplessness. Learned helplessness is when you learn that you're helpless, and it shortens your life, and it predisposes you to disease, and it raises your cortisol, and it makes you dumber, and does all the yucky things in life. So fine, she's great, more power to her. It's her mother.
No, she'll be open to the fasting issue. That won't be an issue for her.
See what it is.
It's
a mindset. It's a mindset that I'm trying to get across here. I'm not trying to. I hope you don't hear me making you wrong, and we don't want to make her wrong. It's a mindset that we want to have. This is something I'm doing.
In total alignment with everything that you said. What we were doing is actually searching for a root cause, and you've given us a few things to look at.
I would also look at. Let me just say this real. I'm sorry to interrupt you. There are salicylates and histamines in foods, and also in fungus and molds. Not fungus and molds, but they trigger fungus and molds trigger histamine responses. And if you're predisposed to histamine by having imbalanced mast cells in the intestine, you can run into a histamine response. And if you eat a histamine-containing food, that's what happened with that gal, like avocados, which seem like they're benign, you can run into a histamine response.
Okay, we'll look for that and track it. The last piece of that question was, because she was on the entire protocol, for connective tissue and osteoporosis as well, along with the good herbs, bone and tissue support and circulatory support, that was supposed to work on those cranial nerves like in the brain. And the question was, if that particular therapeutic is working for other clients, recognizing outside of the gut digestive issue, is it possible that connective tissue is actually rebuilding itself, causing this reaction?
I mean, anything's possible, I suppose. I don't think that's what it is. I'm not gonna say it's impossible. It seems like you're,
It was a question I was asked, and I'm looking to you to answer it.
I would not say that. And the good herbs and all that herbal stuff, you're not going to correct a metabolic imbalance with good herbs. There's nothing wrong with herbs. I studied pharmacognosy when I was in pharmacy school, and I had an herbal pharmacy for many years where I actually literally went out and picked herbs and tinctured them and glycerized them, and I had a whole shelf of Damiana and St. John's wort and valerian and Vitex and all kinds of herbal medicines, and I would actually use them and dispense them, but you're not going to correct the metabolic imbalance with that. It's all metabolism. And I will guarantee you, I haven't looked this up, but I will guarantee you that there's a relationship, just because of deductive reasoning. And why don't you look this up, AJ, while we're on? A relationship between benign, paroxysmal, positional vertigo and metabolic syndrome. What does it say?
Yep.
I didn't know that for fact, but using deductive reasoning, I could tell you that.
Individuals with metabolic disorders such as type 2 diabetes, hypertension, and vitamin D deficiency have a higher incidence of BPPV experiencing.
Did you hear that, Kelly?
Yep, I hear it.
So what I want that's true. I want you to pay attention to the fact that it could involve metabolic syndrome. But big picture, this is the power of deductive reasoning. I didn't know that. I hadn't read that. I hadn't even thought about that. But I could tell you that based on deductive reasoning, that would be the case.
AJ, send me that.
Nope. Keely, I will see you later.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes,
thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Keely.
Good to talk to you. We're over time, but we got an important question.
I'm way late. But what? Go ahead. One more question.
Bruce, I'm so sorry I didn't get your question. Your question was important, but we got more important question. Sanwa 4 on Rumble. Daughter was in the hospital and mishandled her and her fractured femur. She's got Candida gibraltar galbrata in the blood. How does she deal with this nutritionally?
Probiotics, microbiome, fermented foods, but it's a big mess. So in the hospital, she got a Candida infection in the blood.
That's what they think, yes.
You know, they call that iatrogenesis, and it's a leading cause of death. It's hospital-caused illness. Look, hospitals are, they save lives, obviously. I've worked in many hospitals. They save lives. And the people that work in hospitals are angels, absolute saints and angels for the most part. Doctors and nurses and EMTs and all the support staff. They're just amazingly beautiful, good, kind. It's a divine calling is what it really is. Nonetheless, you never want to be in a hospital. People die in hospitals. They're hotbeds of all kinds of infections, and people are all immune compromised. So it's a problem. So I can see that. What I would do whenever you have a fungal infection, if it's in the blood, it's a serious problem, and they're going to have to treat it that way. There's not really, that's very serious. But if you want to do something positive, probiotics and work on intestinal health. And as far as the femur goes, healthy bone and joint pack, and stay away from anything that feeds bacteria like sugar. That feeds bad bacteria, and then also keep your. How old is it a young girl?
It's got to be a pretty young girl.
Okay, it's a bummer. It's a real bummer. But I would get her on, depending on how young she is, calcium, magnesium, vitamin K, silica, Mighty 90 essential nutrients. Healthy bone and joint pack is the best nutritional strategy. And then for the yeast, you're gonna have to work on intestinal health.
What about the I-26?
I always forget that one, but yes, the I-26 might help.
I-26, and then
it's not directly going to be involved, but if she has digestive issues, it might help.
Well, killing bad bacteria in the gut.
It's not really a bacterial; it's a fungal infection. It's not really a bacterial infection, but it doesn't hurt to balance out the bacteria and kill bad bacteria.
You know what? The daughter's 26 years old. You know what?
Then there might be, if the daughter's. Let me say real quick: if the daughter is 26 years old, there might be some dysglycemia and suppressed immunity there. Go ahead.
You know what Dr. Wallach would say?
12th cranial nerve.
Oh,
osteoporosis. Osteoporosis of the skull.
Don't do that to my man. Don't do that.
Gluten intolerance. I'm just guessing. What would we say?
He would say colloidal silver.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
He would say killer biotic.
It's not a bacterial. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm familiar with them. It's not. This is a fungal infection. Mm-hmm. Fungal infections are of a completely different class of infections than bacteria. Fungus live on dead things. Did we talk about this, me and you? I might talk to Saturday.
You did talk to me, and you mentioned that.
You mentioned fantastic fungi.
Dead back into something alive.
Yes, that means they're hard to kill because they thrive on death. They're very hard to kill, and not only that, but they have, they're protected. The only thing that can really kill fungus effectively are bacteria. I shouldn't say the only thing. That's not right. There are antifungal medications, but they're really strong, really powerful. Internal. Topically, it's not quite as bad, like, for nail fungus or for vaginal fungal infections, but systemic fungal infections are notoriously difficult to treat. And I don't think colloidal silver is going to help with a fungal infection.
Okay. Good. Sanwa, yes. Sanwa, here's the number. You see the number on the screen? That's the number. You call me. If we need to pull in Pharmacist Ben, we'll pull in Pharmacist Ben. I'm gonna chat with him. We'll get all of this stuff going. Bruce, we will handle your tough situation that you emailed. And the only reason I put you on the back burner, Bruce, is because you're such close family. He's got a family member with C. diff and ulcerative colitis. And is
the same person or two different family members?
Different person with a different family member.
No. The same person has colitis and C. diff.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah,
same
C.
person
diff.
has.
Yeah. Because C. diff is a cause of colitis. One of the
Okay.
causes of colitis. So that makes sense, and that is that. That's not common, but that's one of the things that happens when people are on antibiotics, especially severe strong antibiotics. You disrupt the flora and you cause an overgrowth of bacteria. Bacteria there's like hundreds of different species of bacteria in the intestine, and they're in a balance. You know what I'm saying? They live in a balance. Just so many of Lactobacillus acidophilus and just so many rhamnobiotic or rhamno. I don't even know what they call them. There's different lactobacilli and different bifidos, and there's zillions of them. I don't know much. I'm not good on microbiology, but there's zillions of different bacteria, 10 trillion, 100 trillion in your gut. Not to mention your skin. All of your skin are coated with bacteria, and your lungs, your tear ducts, your eyes. You have bacteria in your eyes, believe it or not. I mean, you have them everywhere. The microbiome is everywhere. I don't know if it's exactly in the eyes, but it might be. You should look that up. The microbiome's everywhere. So you got to be careful with these kinds of antibiotics because they throw off the balance, and restoring the balance is not that easy because these are living creatures, and they adjust to the environment, to the foods, and to your thoughts you think, and to inflammation and all these various factors. It's very tricky with bacteria.
It is all very fascinating. Bruce has also said that his family member was bragging or was mentioning the fact that his steroid cost thousands of dollars.
His steroids? He was steroid drugs?
The steroid they gave him for the ulcerative colitis. I guess they're trying to pull down the inflammation with steroids, and it costs thousands of dollars.
That's the world we live in. That's why you and I are here. That's why Dr. Wallach, God love him, started Longevity, and that's why we have 22 people on our call.
You keep saying that, but we have people on Rumble. We have people on.
I'm teasing. Who are the 20? Who are the 22?
Well, half of them are friends already.
Oh, okay. Least. All right. I forgot to tell.
Victor.
We got to tell Tom to advertise for Longevity, to tell people about it. To tell all the
we got to do more than that. By the way, we're going on television soon, right? So
who's
me and you, we need to talk about this.
Well, you have it. Yeah. Is this your imagination? Are you creating, manifesting, or is it literal?
I'm gonna pay for us to be on television. Yes, so it's gonna happen.
What television? Is it like CCTV or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Where in New York?
I think we're gonna start in a couple of counties in Jersey, and maybe we'll do some other places too.
Do Mercer County.
Mercer County. I'll check.
Check Mercer County. That's where I was. That's where I grew up. Or Hunterdon County.
Hunterdon. We will check.
Okay.
But that's a conversation we need to have.
We will have that.
And in the future, we need to give 5 comebacks to redirect Prosempic users from using to go to the nutrient route instead of using the drug route.
Let's do a whole show on it. Let's do a video. Let's do one of those TV shows on it.
Well, maybe we can just do something short because we've touched on Ozempic butt 2 times already.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so but not on the TV show.
Okay, the TV show is going to be this show. We're just going to transfer it over.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm all about it.
I know you are. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Pharmacist Ben, thank you for going over a half hour extra today.
Okay. Good to see you, AJ, and everybody.
You are on Daily with Doc on Friday?
Yep, I'm on. Oh, no, I'm not. Oh, yeah, I am.
Do you know?
Next week, I'm not.
You traveling again?
Traveling again. Going to see my 92-year-old mom and hang out with her.
Oh, fantastic. Do you know who's better than you, though?
Nobody.